the reason I also chose fiction is because I learn better that way.
Mhm.
It's easier for me to receive information when I'm listening to a story. Like Charlotte's Web as a child taught me a lot about how to behave well in the barnyard. It's like how to be
Exactly.
a kind person. But if somebody said to me, you ought to take care of Wilbur that pig, I
Yeah,
would have been, because
yeah,
I was that kind of kid
right.
that was. So I believe in the power of story,
Mhm.
and that we as humans
Yes.
like actually thrive on and require story to learn.
Yes.
Hi, I am Donna McDine, and welcome to the Energy of Serenity podcast. Here we unleash empowerment through the power of the word. Join me and my guests as we share stories, tools, and insights to help you feel grounded and aligned. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Energy of Serenity podcast. Donna McDine here, and I have yet another beautiful guest here today. Her name is Linda E. Kelly. Welcome. Welcome, Linda.
Oh, Donna, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a real honor.
Thank you. And before we really get underway with our conversation, I want to introduce you further with your background to the listeners. Linda is a writer, teacher, writing coach, and lifelong believer in the sacred power of words to heal, inspire, transform, and connect. As the creator of Write from Your Heart, a magical practice to jumpstart creativity and meet yourself anew, Linda leads writing workshops that encourage participants to express their authentic voice and surface the deeper wisdoms within. Ah, beautiful, beautiful. How that resonates with me to the core is just incredible. So, Linda, now that you're here, what inspired you in your life's journey to immerse yourself in the writing world in so many facets as writer, writing coach, advocate for the magical child within? Share with the audience.
Wow, Donna, that's a big story in terms of pretty much it's a life story.
Yeah.
In that, I was that little kid that escaped into books, and I was that little kid that wrote in a diary and locked my diary and kept all my secrets inside, kind of thing. So I wrote as a child.
Mm.
And then, lots of us have like family trauma, and I
Mhm.
did too, as a very young person. And in that time became disconnected, if you will, from myself and
Mm.
from a higher power, and had a worldly experience that was on the edge, so to speak, and very troubled.
Okay.
And during that time, did not write at all, didn't, lost touch with myself,
Mhm.
and the teenage years were rough, early 20s were rough. And then I came to a place, essentially a bottom in that experience. And so much of it has to do, and I feel like we can talk about this here, it has to do with being sensitive
Mm-hmm.
and intuitive.
Yes.
And so it was in my 20s that I finally got help, and the help that part of the healing practice had to do with writing. And let me back up just a little bit, because while I was so lost, I was seeking answers. And that's where a lot of, where I was reconnected with myself as an intuitive and sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked with psychics, psychic mediums, crystal healers, astrologists, you name it. And all of it, it was like, tell me I'm going to have a life, that kind of thing. And during that time, I was told by a few of the psychics that I was a writer. However, I was not at all writing at that point in time. Yeah, I didn't have the, physical stamina to
Mhm.
move a pen
Right.
across the page, or the self-worth even at that time to move a pen. With the healing that came for me, part of it had to do with like a therapeutic writing practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I started writing and it was basically meant to just answer a few questions, but it turned into like writing War and Peace. My pen just took off. There was so much that had been bottled up inside of me through that
Mhm.
time that there was just so much to release. And essentially, I shifted my addictions from things that were harmful to me to things that were healing for me. And I became
Beautiful.
addicted to finding out what was inside of me,
Yeah.
because what would pour out through the pen, I did not have access to. Like, the narrator in my brain did not have the access that my pen did to
Right.
the wisdoms that were within, are within.
So when you were going through that process, and I know we've often spoken about how important journaling is,
Hmm.
did you have those defining moments after you were writing what you were writing at that moment and then reading it and being like, oh my gosh, yes, this is my aha moment.
Hmm. No, well, nothing short of enlightenment, or miracles. For sure. And yeah, at times it felt like that, what could be called automatic writing, or a higher
Mm-hmm.
power writing through me.
Right.
So much of, and now, so to answer your question about how did I come to writing coach, because after I had those discoveries about myself, my intention really was just to be a writer, like only to be a writer. And all my jobs were just to support that.
Okay.
I rent paying jobs so that I could write.
Yeah.
And my novels that I wrote and are writing have to do with psychic children. And
Beautiful.
and
Beautiful. Because
the
oftentimes I know people ask me about their children that they know that they're connected innately with spirit. They
Mhm.
know that the child is trying to decipher and feel comfortable with that. So I really want you to expand on that, how that is not only therapeutic to your own writing, but can be therapeutic to the parent with a child that is truly a light being on this earth. Yeah. Can you share more about that?
Well, Donna, I suppose all I can say is I hope. I hope that that's helpful. I hope that it's enlightening. I'm older. I think that parents are a lot more awake now
Yes.
than they were. But when I was a child, it was, children shall be seen and not heard,
Yeah.
go play in your room.
Mhm.
It wasn't valued what
No,
we had to bring to the table.
no.
And for that reason, I think my generation in particular started to swing in the opposite direction of, many of us became known as like helicopter parents, like we were totally on our kids to hear, and I wanted to hear what my child had to say.
Right.
It was really clear to me from the get-go that she was born fully loaded,
Yeah.
and it wasn't loaded with anything that it was, she came with herself, and
Yes.
she had plenty to say to me. And I knew that even though I was a quiet child, there was a lot going on inside of me
Hmm.
when I was a kid.
Yeah.
A lot, and I was seeing a lot and understanding a lot,
Hmm.
and seemingly maybe even more than the adults were. And I had conversations with angels when I was a child. And so essentially what I write about is remembering me,
Okay.
but I've fictionalized
Right.
those characters because I in the by fictionalizing my characters, they have other qualities that can offer me more insight.
Yes. And that's
Does that make
beautiful because
sense?
then while you're writing about yourself and really pulling back those layers, when you have a
Mhm.
family reading your book and being like, okay, that this is a wonderful character that we can relate to bring forth in our family conversations if need be. And to give them the courage that while they may feel like they're reading fiction, they're truly reading a true life story. And it gives them
Mhm.
comfort in knowing that other people are walking those same and similar paths, that we're truly not alone. We need to find our tribe. We need to be able to have these enlightening conversations, that there's that comfort level, that you're not being pushed to the side. Oh, quiet your imagination. What you're thinking is not true. But when they can find that environment where they can speak freely, oh,
Mm-hmm.
the joy that comes out of that, and the comfort, because adolescence is tough to begin with. But
Mm-hmm.
if an adolescence is tapping in to those archangels, to spirit, and they don't have the resource of talking to someone, you can really shove that down because of being
Mm-hmm.
feared, considered different.
Mm-hmm.
And I applaud you in opening up those words of what your life path has been about, so that people can really read something that resonates with them. So beautiful. Would you like to share the name of the book?
Well, the working title, if it's published by this, I'm not sure, but the working title is The Little Witch of Buckland Mills.
Oh, I love it. I love
Thank
it.
you.
I love it.
And who knows what a publisher will do with it? If I
Right.
publish it myself, that title will stay,
Yeah.
but
Right.
otherwise. And then the sequel is The Stormbirds of Knobloch Heights,
Ooh,
and that's about the teenage years.
nice. And
With
as much as adolescence time is difficult to navigate, the teenage years are even more so. And as the child is going through their maturity and trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives, how beautiful that they'll, I innately feel that you'll find the right publisher for this, that is just as invested in it as you are. And with us both being writers, we know that that publishing journey can be a long one. And but it will definitely find its home with the publisher that it really resonates with. And I just love that you're putting your life's journey out there to pen to paper here, and bringing it forth for the world to be able to eventually share that with you. I know that beyond you writing your novel manuscripts, you actually teach writing too.
Mhm, mhm.
And I'd love for the listeners to hear about the workshops that you offer to people, and that some
Well,
are
thank
in
you, Donna.
person and some are virtual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it started out virtual. I'll get to that in a moment. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for, sharing an intuitive hit,
Oh,
because
you're very welcome.
coming from you, it just like
Oh, thank,
makes my aura bristle.
thank you.
And another thing I want to say before I move on from talking about fiction is just that the reason I also chose fiction is because I learn better that way.
Mhm.
I learn it's easier not it's easier for me to receive information when I'm listening to a story
Yes.
that, like Charlotte's Web, as a child taught me a lot about how to behave well in the barnyard. It's like how to be
Exactly.
a kind person. But if somebody said to me, you ought to take care of Wilbur that pig, I would have been, because I was that kind of kid
Right.
that was,
I love it.
so I just I believe in the power of story,
Mhm.
and that we as humans
Yes.
like actually thrive on and require story to learn.
Yes.
So now shifting gears to the work I do as a writer, this when you sent me the questions, that we're not exactly following this script, but it has a lot to do with intuition. The
Yes.
questions that you
Mhm.
asked me that were very interesting. It was so thought provoking. Anyway, the point is, this entirely was an intuitive, or if you will, guided, spiritually guided journey, because in my limited perception, it was that I would be an author, hole up in my ivory tower and send these books out into the world. And yeah, really did not see this coming at all.
Right.
But did any of us see the pandemic coming?
No. No.
Right?
No.
That was just such an incredible, and for those that it was very, very painful, I'm sorry, I do not mean to minimize for a moment, but it was an incredible, for me, reset,
Yeah.
just to like pull out of
Mm-hmm.
everything that I was doing
Right.
and thought I was doing, and on that 5-year plan, to just like stop
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
pretty much just, okay, universe, today we buy groceries, and then what?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Today we mask up and brave those lines. And during that time, there were all these incredible people that were very generously giving of their skills, their gifts,
Mm-hmm.
their talents and with an intention to keep everybody's spirits up
Yeah.
and to create community
Yeah.
on this new thing called Zoom.
Right. Because, yes, some people had that capability, but even in Fortune 500 companies, it wasn't the mainstream of conducting meetings. So everybody had
Hmm.
to pivot and really reset. So
Hmm.
please go on how you took this bizarre time in our lives to recreate what you were doing.
So what happened was I was availing myself of all these of everybody's generosity, taking yoga, doing watercolor, sketching with my left hand, whatever they were offering. And then it got to a point I probably was doing that for, 2 weeks to a month or something, and my whole family would gather around the Zoom and we'd do creative things together by somebody's guidance and take yoga classes.
Right.
And then I thought, what do I have to give? How can I give
Mm.
back? Because this is so generous what people are doing. And I have a little prayer window in my house, and I stood in my window and looked up into the firmament, into the trees, and prayed and just said out loud, power of the word. I said out
Beautiful.
loud, what can I give?
Yeah.
And I honestly didn't have a clue, Donna, what I had to give.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I woke up the next morning and it just poured out of me. Like it was almost like I was on autopilot, like get your phone, go on Facebook, post this. And it just flowed out of me. These words, right from your heart. Let me see. Right from your heart. Jumpstart your creativity and meet yourself anew.
Oh,
And then
powerful.
the class filled up by, I think that was like maybe 8 in the morning or something. The class was full by noon, and then it was, now what do they're here. What do I give them? And then it's been this process of finding the way by walking, finding the way by writing, because the way those words came through me that morning, then the next thing that was offered to me was a welcome letter that is essentially, and these are my beliefs, but I felt divinely inspired about that. This was about providing comfort and safety
Mm, yeah.
to allow flow and spirit to come through
And that's
your pen.
beautiful because that's all we want. We want to feel safe and
Mm-hmm.
to be comforted by those around us, whether it's virtual or in person. And for people to find that beautiful space that they can share where they are at their life through their writing is just so amazingly powerful, and it's empowering to the individual.
Mm-hmm.
And how amazing that within hours your first class was filled up, because it really shows that people all have that creativity ability that they would like to unleash but don't know how to do it, need
Mm-hmm.
that guidance, that support. So how amazing. So your
Thank
welcome
you.
letter, is that what you sent out to the group that registered for the first class?
Yes, and I actually still use it because it applies as much today as it did then,
Beautiful.
which is essentially about like we're setting off on a journey. together. And you're this is what you pack and this is what you let go of, and that there are, there is a guide, me, loosely guiding. There is a way, there's a method, it is charted, but we're going into uncharted territory
Yes.
together to have discovery, to explore what's inside of us. And what is not invited along is your inner critic.
Yep.
And what you will not find here, but I mean, there's a place for our inner critic in life. I don't like to exile any parts of us. However, the inner critic's not invited on this leg of the journey,
Because we
And
can be
so,
our own worst enemies with our inner
Mhm.
critic. And often the way we talk to ourselves, we would never talk to another human being like.
Mhm.
So that's beautiful that as much as you don't want to exile that part of someone, but this is your time. Your inner
Mhm.
critic is not welcome. I love it. And it gives
And
you that
neither
power.
are,
Yeah.
excuse me?
It gives you the power to be like, okay, nope, you're going to the side right now. See ya.
Mhm. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
So when you were initially conducting your first workshop during the COVID time, how you did it through Zoom, and how long were your sessions? Are you still connected with those individuals that were in your very first class? And
Mhm.
the comfort level that people really found from that, so that they could push away for that time what was going out in the world with COVID, knowing that you couldn't go out and about and meet people in person. Uh, Share to the group how you cultivated that group to really make it and continue to cultivate it in this warm, loving environment, even though you're not in technically physical space with each other, but how that energy still works through the technology.
It, I'm stuttering here because I don't know if I have answers for that. It's profound
Yeah.
how energetically we're connected,
Mhm.
at whether through these little Hollywood square windows, but that's how we're seeing each other.
Right.
However, we are connected energetically in what I referred to earlier when you and I were chatting is like the golden web
Yes.
that binds us all.
Yes.
And with that kind of intention and focus of being in a group together and sharing so intimately, we get our web kind of tightens
Yes.
with each other. So what I tell my students always is that I write with you,
Yeah.
and I will write with you because we are creating an energetic, group dynamic.
Hmm.
So let me see. Did that answer your question about how that was maintained? I'm kind of mystified about how the whole thing is maintained and grown. Like you asked, do I still know the people from the beginning? Yes, I do. Some of my students are to this day have been with me for 5 to 6 years.
Beautiful.
They just continue, and they have in this amazing way helped inspire more and more and more growth and refinement in terms of the prompts and the different journeys.
Okay.
Like the first people were guinea pigs, if you will, and
Right. Because everybody was
and
learning
then
a new way of connecting. Yeah.
mhm. And then we all found the way by walking, found the way by writing, found the way by the experience.
Hmm.
And what became clear, so during the pandemic time, while we were all shut down, that was all on Zoom,
Right.
and at that time I didn't monetize
No.
because,
Right.
but then it became bigger than me, and then I had to shift what I was doing. So I do monetize my workshops now.
Right.
And they
Absolutely.
are a different form. And like you mentioned before, some of them are in person, which
Yeah.
is
Which is
really,
beautiful. And for those of the listeners that live in the Hudson Valley here, can you share where your in-person workshops are?
Well, sure. The actually, I'm moving more into a workshop model at this point. I do a class
Hmm.
at Marydell Faith and Life Center,
Okay.
which is in Upper Nyack, New
Yes.
York.
Beautiful spot. Beautiful
It's
spot.
at the foot of Hook Mountain,
Yeah.
and the river's right there. So I just walk onto the land and immediately feel serene.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a beautiful place. So that I have a little cottage that I rent and have a little class that meets weekly, and I will maybe do more if there's more interest in
Beautiful.
that. But this was a first. I've been doing the classes and workshops on Zoom prior to this year, actually.
Okay. Great.
And then just about to launch a workshop in collaboration with another artist that's
Beautiful.
I'll give a little plug for it. It'll be in March, and I'll put out more information on Facebook and on my website then. But this one is called The Oracle Is You.
Ooh.
And it
Wow.
is tap
Wow.
into your intuition through sacred imagery and the pen.
Yeah. So that I love that, because with both of us being intuitives and we're both Reiki masters, and we know how that feels when you allow yourself to be open to those intuitive hits. How is your intuitive hits guided you in your writing and in your workshops? And especially with this one that you're going to be launching in March with the Oracle, I just, I just want to sing to the netherworlds about it, because with people that are listening, we all have that innate ability to receive those messages, whether it's through your religious prayer, quieting your mind down, through meditation, through just being and not being busy 24/7. It's amazing what will come forth for you in guidance. So please share how your own intuition, all of a sudden you have that aha moment and you create this beautiful workshop or your personal writing.
Thank you. Yeah, this was not necessarily an all of a sudden aha,
Okay.
or a white light moment. It was more an accrual of white light moments. In that last year, it started to become clear to me that I wanted to move more into a workshop model
Mm.
where I could have more people, and they can break up into groups and have an immersion experience instead. And I also think that, in the pandemic, people could focus for periods of time and take
Mhm.
a class that, some of my classes went for 4 months. And then, but now I don't think people have the same amount of time to give,
Right. Yeah.
unless, unless they're retirees and
Hmm.
they're wanting to also have legacy writing at this point. So they have another motivation.
Right.
Anyway, so I had this kind of brewing in the back of my mind. And then around Christmas time, I went to it was like an artist gathering where they were offering their pottery, this was. But there was a woman who had created these gorgeous oracle cards. They're called the Goddess on Earth Oracle deck. Really beautiful. Shall I say her name is Lisa Lavart, an incredible artist. And she was doing these like fun little readings in the midst of this, sort of like craft fair. And I sat with her, and I said, I had started using her cards in one of I got her permission to use her cards in my in-person workshop.
Hmm.
And it added a whole other depth. It's like the cards opened up this portal where like more was pouring through, and I found that my students were just loving it. It was like the moment in the hour where like we get to pick our cards, that kind of thing. And anyway, so I was telling her about that, and she said to me that she had been doing workshops, and she asked if I wanted to do one together. And it was it's like, thank you, universe.
Yeah.
Just thank you
Yeah.
for putting. So we've been working on that and in conversation for the past 2 months, and we've just secured a venue, and we're
Excellent. Oh my gosh, how exciting. So exciting. Um, you have shared beautifully how your intuition intertwines with the power of the word. And the power of the word is so important, even if an individual is not putting pen to paper, especially what we say to ourselves, how we talk to others, how we are saying to ourselves how we want our day to be, those powerful, positive words that we really need to nurture ourselves with on a daily basis. We walk lighter because
Mhm.
we're talking to ourselves positively, the same to the people around us. And it's just so uplifting. And I thank you for what you are continuing to create and cultivate through your writing and your beautiful workshops. Before we wrap up today, I would really like you to share with the listening audience, how can they connect with you? Because even if this episode it airs after your new March workshop, Linda has ongoing workshops. These aren't her workshops are not one and done and then you never hear from her again. So please share with the listening audience how they can connect with you.
First of all, thank you so much. I can't believe this is already, our time is up. That
I
went so
know.
fast.
It's
Oh my
incredible,
gosh, I
isn't it?
feel like I could have talked to you forever. Uh, so my website is my name. I made it as because I thought it was be an author's website. So authors' websites are by their names. So
Yes.
it's Linda Ellen Kelly
Okay.
is how you can find me. Also friend me on Facebook,
Okay.
because
And is it
usually when I'm launching a new class, that's where I post it first, because it was community and friend oriented.
right? And is that Linda Ellen Kelly as well on Facebook?
I think so. It's
Okay.
either Linda Ellen Kelly or Linda E. Kelly. I
Okay.
usually put an initial because there's millions of us out
Right.
around the
So what
globe.
what I will be doing with my podcast producer when we update the show notes, your links will be within there as well for those that are interested to connect through with you. So that if they miss it on the audio or watching this on YouTube, they just need to go to the show notes and they'll be able to connect with you like that. And I really filled with deep gratitude, Linda, today for this time and speaking about intuition, the power of the word, how we all needed to pivot one way or another during COVID, and how essential it is to remain innately connected to those around you, because it's truly a ripple effect on what we can create with one another, a positivity and loving environment and safe environment for people. So thank you for all that you do, Linda. And I,
Thank you, Donna.
yeah.
May I say one more thing?
Yes,
Just so that
absolutely.
what I really want to lift up for anybody listening is that one need not identify as a writer.
Mhm.
I think so many people, like they stop at the gate, like that's not me, that's not my skill set.
Right.
We all have so much inside of us that can easily pour forth through the pen, but there's also different aspects of discovery that happen in my classes, both through reading and reflection and, speaking, like you just
Beautiful.
said. So it's not, and it's not about, crossing those T's and dotting those I's in the right place. Has more to do with, as you so eloquently put, allowing what's inside of us to come forth.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And thank you for sharing that, because that can stop people in their tracks like, oh, why would I take a writing class? I'm not a writer. I am such and such. So thank you for sharing that and encouraging those listeners out there to really step back and take that step forward and not allow your inner critic or inner naysayer to stop you for something that you're like, wait a minute, I think I want to do this. Go for it. Go for it, because you never know where it'll lead you and what friendships and connections will come out of it. So beautiful, Linda. Beautiful. Namaste to you. Blessed be.
Donna,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Thank Thank you. You are such a bright light.
Oh, thank you.
You're
And you
giving
as well.
so much to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on Energy is Serenity. I appreciate you taking the time to explore the power of the word, mindfulness, and calming practices with me. If today's episode resonated, please subscribe and consider leaving a review. Until next time, may your energy be serene and your words be empowered. Namaste.